I've got one that can see.
Back to the garden. We got to go back to that garden, family. He goes on to tell you how the angels, they didn't have a living soul. Okay? He says this, I just played it for you. He said the angels didn't have a living soul. But the spirit, the ruach in man, yes, there was one. The one actually that was formed. He can tell you this. Formed from the dust of the ground. Now, we can read this, family. We can read this, and I'm going to take you there so that you have understanding. We can read about what was created by something that didn't have a living soul. We could, you see, if they really understand what they're saying the same thing we're saying, but they're just not getting what happened in that garden. Again, because you got to get it. Now, keep in mind, they use the word God. We know that word should have really never been placed within our Bible because that's a title. That word God is a title. Just like Satan is the God of this world. We know we're talking about Satan, okay? That's a title. So with that understanding and this, now keep in mind, even though these rulers, these judges, these divine ones, these angels, these gods, because this is a plural word, and it's Hebrews word 4030, which is Elohim, okay? Even though they were allowed to create in Genesis 1 in their own likeness and everything, this male and female who were soulless beings just like them. It was in their own image. I said if you take that word back, it says Genesis 1:26, and God said, and I'm going to use the word God here, and God said, and these are angels, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So it says in Genesis 1:27. So God, or so the angels, the Elohim, created man in his own image. You can look that word image up, you're going to find, and I'm just going to look it up for you and tell you, okay? If you look up that word image, you get image of tumor, mice, heathen gods, image, likeness of resemblance. Then you keep going, it says mere empty. Those angels weren't given the ruach either. Mere empty image. Semblance, okay? The word semblance just means a carbon copy of something, but it's hollow. It will tell you that. You look that up in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it will tell you that. See, what was created male and female in Genesis 1, in our own image, in our own likeness, from those angels, which the Most High allowed the angels over a lot of things, family. You have to go to the book of Enoch to get that understanding. But it lets you know the Father had the angels in charge of a lot. He sits on the throne, but there's nothing done unless he chooses for that to be done, okay? So these angels created what was made in Genesis 1:26. The angels did that. If you go back to Genesis 1:26, it reads, and you got to have understanding. You put those spiritual eyes on, and after the show, you go back, you review it, you'll get it. Okay, you will get it. Pray to the Father through the Ruach to give you that understanding. It says, and the angels said, the Elohim said, which is that word God. I took that out because that is a word that was put in there. Okay, and the Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Okay? So it says, the Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of the Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. Okay. Then it tells the next verse, and Elohim blessed them and said, unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. It had to tell them angels that created their image, their likeness, their resemblance. Go back to that word image, their carbon copy that was not given the Ruach, only what was formed by the Most High in Genesis 2, that was given the breath of life. We know that breath of life made him a spiritual living being. Okay? Go to the book of Enoch. Okay, the book of Enoch. When Lamech saw Noah, Noah's albino, but when Lamech saw Noah, he assumed child doesn't look human. It looks inhuman. You know, it looks like one of the children from the fallen angels. Well, they don't say fallen angels. They said the angels. And the reason why he said that was because of how it looked. The appearance of it was white. The hair was white. The eyes were bright. So he assumed that his wife, them angels had got to his wife, and that was not his child. Lamech went to his father Methuselah, who later went to Enoch, and asked about this great wonder. The great wonder is, I know I'm black. I know my wife has a black skin on her. Ooh, this child is white and looking human like one of the children from the fallen angels. That's a white child. That's what he said. You know, with his knowledge, that's what he said. Enoch goes back and tells him of this great miracle. No, this is from your loins. This child is from your loins. The Most High had a special meaning for Noah to look just the way he looked. But the catcher to everything is he looked like the fallen angels, the children of the fallen angels, the fallen ones, okay? What did the fallen ones look like? Because Noah did not say anything. All Lamech did was look at him. He looked inhuman, okay? He don't look like the rest of us. Something up with that. What is up with that? This child. Now, keep in mind, we know when we get to Genesis 6, those Nephilim were overrunning everything, okay? So it's like, he had already seen this thing. It had already taken place. This is Genesis 5, the genealogy, the breakdown, the very end of it, okay? That's in the book of Enoch, talks about this. So we know that he says that he looked like one of them because of what? Because of his skin, just his appearance. Now you go back to Genesis 1:26. You remember the same angels, okay? Now, if Lamech thought that Noah looked like one of the inhuman, white, fallen ones because he thought that the angels had produced Noah, and Enoch had to straighten that out and tell him, no, this one's from you, this one's from you. This is a mystery, family. This one's from you. But it doesn't take away the fact that that's what he saw and that's what he thought. It gives us the perception of understanding what is more spiritual. Okay? The world will tell you, no, that Edom is the first beginning of anything that was Caucasian. That is not true. Enoch, at the end of Genesis 5, you'll find Enoch being born, Noah being born at the very end. You have to go back to the book of Enoch to see what was it that was so different about Noah. Noah was an albino because it tells you that his hair was white, but it was it was long and like it was afro, but it was curly, okay, and it was white, and his skin was white, and his eyes were bright. So, with that understanding, you go to Genesis 1:26. And 27, it says that these angels said, let us make man in our image. So we know that the image of the angels, when the angels created anything, had to have looked white, okay? We also know that in Genesis 1:26, everything that was made from Genesis 1:26 and 27, you don't hear anything about the Ruach that is given to them. But they are what was told to multiply. So when Brother Yahya made the statement, angels, not a living soul, that is correct. They were not given the Ruach. Only Adam was given that Ruach. So when their creations in Genesis 1:26, which we know are angels, I just gave you the link to the Strong Concordance, and you'll have many of our brothers and sisters tell you the same thing, but there couldn't be no sex, no hanky-panky there. Yes, there was. That was happening before Genesis 6. So you see that these angels created something in their own likeness, in their own image, male and female. They created them, told them to multiply, replenish the earth, okay? You will not hear anything about a Ruach given to that sixth-day creation.
I've got one that can see.